Hi everyone, my name is Chino.
And I'm Kudi.
I'm missing one person today.
Yeah, where's Brian?
Where is Brian?
Guys, we can't do another episode and tell people that we don't have a car.
What are you doing over there?
I was looking for a car.
Where exactly were you looking for a car? There's no cars around.
Flip.
Where are you going now?
What's wrong with this
Where
guy?
is he going?
Aiwa babe. Aiwa inini I love you sha. Munhu uya andombomziva. Ndosandikuedza kukudza kuti handimzive ndinoda iwewe. Aiwa hazvinombofamba like that.
Ayo, we need to use your cards. It had to be done, guys.
Oh, what's going on?
I know it had to be done. We needed a car.
Who's the owner?
I don't know. He's gone over there. Brian Willis here, no relation to Bruce, and this is Z-CarCulture. And today we got the BMW E36 3 Series, the 3rd generation. Most of you guys know it as the Dolphin. Yeah, so this is the 3rd generation. First we had the E21, then we had the E30. Most of you know it as the Buchesha or the Matchbox. And then we got this one. So as you can see, beautiful car. I mean, come through, come check it out, come check it out. So this obviously was done up. This does not come stock like this. We got this gunmetal gray looking, in fact it's a bit lighter than gunmetal gray, tinted windows, BBS tires, baby, 17 inches, you can never go wrong. Combination of BBS in the 3 Series, especially the E36, you can never go wrong. Now, if you come to the front, aftermarket headlamps. This was done up really well, man. Really well, man. It just gives this a more aggressive look and I mean, you're just ready to go, man. This thing was actually nicknamed the panty dropper at some point. I think if you notice your lady watching this show right now, you can probably see that they're getting a bit crazy as they're seeing the car. Now, when they redesigned the 3 Series from the Matchbox, the E30, they made the A-pillar a bit more inclined for the aerodynamics to be improved. If you come through this side, you can see the angle is a bit more menacing so that it can cut through the wind a bit easier, and it has an easier aerodynamic element to it. As you can see, as it's going down, streamlined even by here, by the C-pillar. A lot more streamlined. I love this curve. Anybody who knows a BMW would know what this 3rd pillar curve is called. Hofmeister kink. Yep, a little tidbit knowledge there. It's a beautiful car, guys. It's really a beautiful car. And then we look at the spoiler. Just look at it, man. Menacing all around. But the funny thing about most of these cars is when they were made, they started production in the 90s, 1990 up until the year 2000. That's when they stopped. So because they had a very brilliant run making this car, there are so many specs of it. So a lot of them look menacing, but under the hood, some of them are not as quick. But if you have have the M badge on it, the M3 on it. This one does not have the M badge, but that does not mean it's not. Maybe the guy didn't want people to know. I would have asked him for a bit more of the specs if I knew them, but unfortunately, yeah, it's probably calling the cops on me right now. But yeah, it's a brilliant car, guys. I mean, and it's really a panty dropper. When it comes to like driving it around the streets and all that jazz, it really attracts a lot of attention, especially when it's done up like this. And this color, you'll find that it also helps you with, you know, going a few days without washing it, because yeah, the color is not it doesn't expose you that quickly that you don't wash your car that often. But it's a good thing that this guy, I think he had just come from a car wash before we jacked him off his vehicle. But yeah, it's a brilliant car. It's a brilliant car. I love it. I love it.
Okay, now guys, you join me inside the vehicle, and I have to say, it really is a nice car, especially since this one is going to be a project car for the owner. So now, what you need to know is it's got a 1.6 liter engine that makes about 106 horsepower, somewhere there. And I do have to say that it's not the fastest thing on the road. It's far from it, actually. But since this is actually going to be thrown out, the engine is going to come out of this. It's going to be much easier to gain speed or power. Now, the other thing you have to consider when looking at these cars is the cost. The other thing with this car is there's no power steering. So if you see me struggle a little bit when I'm turning, now you know that's why. But apart from that, it does have a very direct linear feel to the steering wheel, and when you turn you can kind of feel what's going on at the front end. And because it's also a project car, the brakes are a bit iffy, so you might not have as much confidence in this, but the owner assures us it's going to change pretty soon. The other thing is it does feel a bit let down by the transmission, because it's got a 4-speed automatic instead of the 5-speed manuals that come in the other versions. The owner is considering some pretty tasty options, so just watch this car. It's going to turn out to be something that's quite interesting, really. The other thing you need to know is, even though this car is an automatic, it's quite good on fuel, and that belies the size of the engine, actually. Right, the other thing is this car is pretty wide tires for the power that's available, so it does feel a bit overtired at the time. There's not much that's going on at the rear end, but if you need something to just keep you awake, the sound is, so although that's not really as loud from the inside, trust me, from the outside it does have a little fruity flavor to it. Right. The E36 is a great car, actually, and in Zimbabwe we actually have E36s dominating at the track. For instance, we have the Perrys, and everyone is quite aware of their performance on the track. It's quite brilliant, really. So whatever you want to do to this car, it can turn out great as a track, drift, drag car, anything you think this thing can handle. Just throw at it and you'll be surprised.
Right, now stepping inside the BMW E36 that we got through, I want to say, creative ways, you notice that it's a very 90s car. That is, there's a lot of plastic going on. Pretty much every surface area has got plastic. Now I want to start off with the cockpit of the driver, where the driver will be sitting, and you notice that there aren't any digital dials here, there aren't any digital screens here. This is a very early 90s car, and so you'll find a lot of analog dials. And for the driver, you've got everything laid out in a very logical fashion. That is your ref counter, that is your speedometer, and other gauges that will help you navigate through your everyday life with the BMW E36. And key note here is that this is a project car, so you find a lot of unique elements unique to this car alone that you'll find dotted about the place. One of those unique elements, if you look down here, is the shifter, shaped like a T. Now I asked what that shifter is from, and I didn't quite get a good answer from it. All I will say is that it's shaped like a T for the owner, whose name starts with the T. So that is my conclusion for that. Now as we move up to the central dash, again, very simplistic. This is a very 90s car, so you find not too much going on. You've got your dials here for your climate control, or should I just say your cooler and your heater. And if you move up here, you've got a unique vent here for where the air will be blowing out. And this is also reminiscent to the Supra, and that's one thing you notice as well with 90s cars in general. You've got this swooping design which is angled towards the driver. The Supra has it, the S2000 has it as well, and that's because they wanted all these things to be centralized towards the driver. And so the driver is important here. For the rest of the 3 passengers or 4 passengers, well, tough luck. Now as I squeezed myself into the back seats, I noticed one thing. This is a very compact car, and modern compact cars actually have a lot more legroom and headroom, and this car is very, very compact, very fitting of the name. It is a compact car by nature, and you can tell because there's not a lot of legroom. For me and for the average person, they just might fit, but it's not as roomy as you would like. Headroom is quite alright because it is a boxier design compared to the swooping designs of modern day, so pretty much headroom is very decent. You'll be able to fit in very well. Now the boot area is surprisingly generous. You've got ample room going on here, so much so that the owner was able to fit in a massive speaker in the back and still was left with ample room to fit in whatever you would like to fit in. Underneath you've got space for a spare wheel, and in typical German car fashion you also have the battery located in the back here as well. If you take a look at the boot lid, you find that there's space here for a few tools as well that you may need in case you get stuck on the side of the road.